Shri Krishna. Now we shall do the inauspicious yogas or the Arishta yogas. So these yogas start with Ava and are 12 in number. Of these, we must not get confused that the 8th, 6th and the 12th houses, lords posited in the 6th, 8th or 12th are bad. They are all good. The only 3 yogas of these are good and the rest are bad because they are Viparita Raja yogas, which I shall talk about in the Raja Yoga video. So, now starting with Ava, we shall do it. So, the rule of this is 6, 8 and 12 houses. Any planet posited, any house lord posited in 6th, 8th or 12th houses gives such effects. If the first lord is in that condition, Ava Yoga is formed. Ava Yoga, the person who has Ava Yoga will have a body which is very deformed, and the person will be weak, wicked and sinful, and will be not at all wise, and he will destroy all his assets in that condition. Then the next one, if the second lord is posited in such a thing, then the person will have his money destroyed by his enemies and will have no family, no son, will be uneducated and will not at all be educated. That's why his money will all go away. Then that is called the Nishwa Yoga. Then comes the Mriti Yoga. This is when the third lord is in such a position. The third lord, if in such a position, that means the third lord in 6th, 8th or 12th houses will bring a yoga called Mriti Yoga, which causes separation from brothers and sisters. The person will not at all have brothers and sisters first of all, and the person will have lots of problems and will not at all have any courage, will be very lazy, and such qualities will be inherited by him. The person will be annihilated by his enemies also. The next one is where the fourth lord is in such a position. It causes a yoga called the Kuhu Yoga. Kuhu Yoga causes a person to be actually, he will not at all get happiness from his mother and will always be very bad and will have problems every time. Then the fifth one is the Pamara Yoga, in which he'll be defamed and will be not at all respected, will not even have a little respect in anything, will have troubles from his son and such things, or he may not at all have a son. Then comes the 6th house, Harsha Yoga. In this, the person is very great and his talks stuns people and he defeats his enemies completely. So this is a Viparita Raja Yoga. That means the 6th lord is posited in 6, 8 or 12 houses. Then comes the 7th one, Dushkri Yoga. The person is very bad and getting separated from his wife, and then he is a very bad person. After that comes the 8th one, that is the Sarala Yoga. The person who has this yoga will be very knowledgeable in the Shastras, the Vedas and such things. This is again a Viparita Raja Yoga. So that means the 8th lord in position with the 6th, 8th or 12th houses. So this causes a Viparita Raja Yoga, and that's why it's a very good yoga. Now comes the next kind, which is the Nirbhagya Yoga. When the 9th lord is in such a position, the person who has such a yoga will destroy all his assets, and the person will have not at all a single bit of luck in his life. The person, even though having lots of money, will destroy it by his sinful deeds. Then comes the 10th house in such a position. So the 10th house in such a position, the yoga will be called Dur Yoga. In this, the person will always fall from his main position and will never be happy, and always his profession will have ups and downs. Then comes the 11th lord. If he is in such a position, then the yoga formed will be called as if the 11th lord is posited in such a position, the yoga form is called Daridra Yoga. In this, the person will have the worst debts and will be the poorest among the poor. Not even poor, he'll be the poorest among the poor if the 11th lord is in such a condition. That means 11th lord in the 6th, 8th or 12th houses. It's a very, 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 very bad yoga because the person becomes very poor in this and will always have debts. Most people who have debts have this yoga. Then comes the Vimala Yoga. The person who has his 12th house lord in the 6th, 8th or 12th houses, the person will have a very polished speech and he will be of mixed character and will have a good behavior. So these are the inauspicious yogas or the Arishta yogas. Jai Shri Krishna.